guys, Brady here from Kegland, and we're here today with our residential wine expert, Adam, who's got heaps of commercial experience in the wine industry. And the reason why we're here is because we've got some really exciting new gear, but not just gear, we've got some really cool new methods of how you can actually ferment your wine and simplify the entire process and the drawbacks of those old processes that we always used to do, and kind of modernize things really. So Adam, just first off, I've never made any wine. But I think what you were saying is, like, every time I've seen it, it's like you need several different vessels to keep transferring from one to the other.
Yeah, the old sort of recipe that comes with the VineCo kits.
Yep.
You do the first process, the first ferment, then you've got to rack it into a second one.
Yeah.
You do the next process, you rack back into the original one, you do the final one. So you need two vessels and you're going backwards and forwards like 3 or 4 times. And the chance of oxidation, so all of your lovely Chardonnays turn out like a yellow sort of sample colour instead of the nice crisp colour. So this way combines everything just in one vessel. So all your fermenting's done in here, all of your fining's done in here, all of your bottling and packaging's done from here.
So there's no risk of like extra infections, like that's what, and brewing a lot of hoppy beers, like my hate is transferring anything just because I want to avoid the oxidation. So we've got these awesome kits that we've been selling for quite some time now. And just, Adam, so you've written these new processes. Can you just show us like how we'd go about making it so we don't have to do those transfers, and how we can then essentially, we'll jump through the processes.
Just to walk through?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to, we can even bust one of these open and give it a go.
Yeah, we can do. So the first thing, everything's got to be clean and sanitized. That's always step number 1.
Yep.
But inside all of these kits, there's a bag of concentrate. It's just grape juice concentrate because we haven't fermented it yet. Effectively, all you do is put it in, fill it up to either 21 or 25 litres, depending on how strong you want it alcohol-wise.
Yep.
And then add your yeast and you're off and running.
Yeah, okay. And the benefit of doing it in this one vessel with a triclover at the bottom rather than like the all-rounder or the flat bottom or your old buckets and things like that people used to use is that you can essentially dump anything you don't need. And so instead of transferring, you just either settling it out into the collection jar, and if you do want to dump, you can just seal it off, or you can even just pull straight out of here, right?
Yeah. I've done a couple of them now, and you see if you're cold crushing, you see all the yeast settle right down. It forms a nice little cake in the bottom. So there's no wine actually like influencing it, like you're not going to get any nasty sort of yeasty flavors or off character flavors from it. But then last time I did it, I cold settled it, all the yeast dropped down to the bottom. I added some bento in, that all settled out separately, and then the Kaitas and Kiesel fining at the end settled out into a nice tight layer, and I was able to bottle from the second port in the collection jar. So I didn't need to take anything apart or clean anything, it just came straight out of there. And everything stayed in the one vessel, so there was still a CO2 level throughout the whole thing. So there's no, or minimal chance of oxidation.
Yeah, nice. Well, should we bust this one open and show just how easy it is to
cool. Easy.
Let's do it. So we've got the Oregon Pinot here, and these VineCo kits are awesome quality. We looked at making our own for a while, but the quality of these kits was just so good. And we can get Australian grapes, New Zealand grapes, American grapes,
Italian.
It's the variety. Yeah, it's huge. And I think the quality of these kits, I've had the wine that Key made a few years back on a video. The quality of these kits is kind of unmatched on the market compared to the other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool, let's get it in there.
Yep. It doesn't matter at this stage about getting any air in it. It's better for the ferment in the early couple of days.
Yep.
So you can splash it around, it's totally fine. So just to make sure you've got everything out of the kit, I always chuck just a bit of water back
into the...
And just slosh it around a bit, because we're going to be filling it up, this one up to 21 litres. Just put a bit back in the bladder, slosh it around. You can pull it out if it's any easier, just to make sure you've got all the flavours out of there. There's always a little bit of concentrate that's left in at the end, so you just want to get 100% of it out.
Oh yeah, heaps left in there.
Yeah, super coloured. And then we just top up to, we're going to need more. We'll do this one up to 21 litres. It should end up at about 14% alcohol once the ferment's finished.
And then essentially with your new instruction kit, so basically what we're doing is, this is the process up until here is the same, except the vessel's different. And the process is always the same. We're just avoiding all of those kind of additional transfers, those risks of oxidation and infection.
That's it at the back end.
So these instructions are super easy to read. They're all on the website for all of the kits. You'll see the instructions on there. And essentially it'll just make life so much easier. It takes up less room in your house because you don't need additional vessels. So it's really, really going to improve. And I tell you what, Adam, I might give it a go as well.
Yeah, they're too easy. So this one's, there's no grapes in it. There's no maturation time at the end. So 4 weeks time, we should have some tasty Pinot to drink.
Beautiful.
It's just two, we're going to use the RC212 out of this pack. Just because it's the EC1118 that they've got in there as well is a super robust yeast, but the RC212's specific for Pinot. You can do a yeast starter, but it's easier if you just dump it in. Just
get it straight in, yeah. Avoid those extra steps where, again, you're risking infection by hydrating yeast for pretty minimal benefit in my book.
Bit of a mix and you're off and running. So there are in the kit, in the bundle that we've put together for the wine, for the Tri-Conical, there is a spunding valve that looks like this, that's included, but we're not going to use it for this one. We're just going to stick with the old-fashioned bubbler. So if you keep the cap in there that's originally there and just tuck in your bubbler, 2 weeks time it'll stop bubbling and then you know it's ready to fine. Easy.
Perfect. And are we opening the valve at this stage or we leave it?
Yeah, it's good now that we know we're at 21 litres. It's loose, so you can take a sample. Just double check the specific gravity.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Because then that avoids that extra risk later on as well with that oxygen that's inside that trap as well. So always good practice.
There's a couple of ways you can get samples from this. We've got a little tap that you can connect to the side. You can run a line off the side or just use a Valenche over the top.
Yep.
And then just run it into your thing. Check the specific gravity, write it down so you know at the end what your alcohol content is.
Yeah, beautiful. So we're back. It's been 4-5 weeks.
Something like that,
Yeah, cool. And you've been pretty busy. I've not really done too much, but I have been. It's been popping in my office. We've been having little samples every now and then. But Adam, tell us what you've been up to in your new method that we've been doing.
So what we've done, we went through the ferment, it went really well. Lasted maybe 12 days, I think, by the end. Everything went fully dry. At the end, it was in a fridge, so we cold crushed it to settle out a bit. And there was a stack of sediment in the collection jar at the bottom. Now, normally what you do at the end of the ferment is you transfer to the second vessel.
Yeah, right.
But I just shut the valve, emptied the container, and then connected it up again. It was so easy. So after that, it's still a little bit cloudy, so we added some bentonite fining and some Kiesel chitosan fining, which you've got to degas before, but then everything settled out again, dumped another collection jar, and this is the final sediment that we did 3 days ago.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's perfectly just below that carbonation cap there, so you'll just be able to, as we discussed earlier, you'll just be able to pull off straight off there. So sometimes you'll need to dump, sometimes you won't. You mentioned degassing. Now there's a few ways you can do it. Obviously, we're not going to complicate things too much.
Yeah,
the traditional method is just a drill.
Yeah, just drill for a couple of minutes. Effectively, the last fining, the Kiesel chitosan fining, if there's any gas in there, it doesn't work really well.
Yep.
So you've got to degas before you add it. But if you don't need to add it, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, nice. And Adam, just tell us what flavours we're going to get from like a Oregon Pinot Noir.
So this, just based off
Pinot Noir?
yesterday,
Pinot
Noir. Based off yesterday, there's some real nice sort of plum characters. We've been mucking around with some oak additives just to dump in at the very end, which you don't need to do, but it's really nice and fruity. There's some savoury characters in there, which are just really nice. So it's a really good one to do in literally 4 weeks from start to finish, and we're ready to bottle.
Oh yeah, and it's obviously, I've been drinking it along the way, and I can't wait to taste it at the end. But like you say, there's other ways you can go now. You could put it in an oxybar or something like that, and add some Zirka balls to get that real oak flavour. Or like you say, you can just add oak flavouring into it as well.
Or some chips. There's 1,000 ways you can do. Like you can have a little barrel if you've got one of the little port barrels at home.
Yeah.
But it's really easy in the little, even the 20-litre oxybar kegs. Just fill it up with some ex-oakers.
Yep.
Fill it up with wine. Come back in 6 months' time.
Awesome. How do we get it out?
There's a couple of ways. The easiest and cheapest way is just connecting up one of the basic beer fillers. Effectively, there's a little tap at the bottom, and you just push it down to the bottom of your bottle, and it fills up. We can fill one now if you want.
Let's do it.
Yep.
So this is kind of like the method you would have done if you'd done all the transfers and you've got a little tap at the bottom of your bottling bucket.
Yeah, you've just got effectively, it's just a little filler, and there's a little valve at the end which should shut it off.
Yep.
With this one, we've added a little ball tap in just to make sure nothing goes pear-shaped, but we'll see how it goes. We're just connecting it up to the carbonation cap.
Yep. So we can go carbonation cap. So for this method, we have to go carbonation cap. So if you are above that, you are going to want to dump some of that out.
Yeah, get rid of it and then just lose another one just so that you can take from the bottom, because we're going from gravity, so this could take forever, but we'll see how it goes.
So you just push this to the bottom, open your ball valve. Perfect.
And then we go.
It's coming out pretty good for gravity.
Yeah. You can always lift it up higher if it's going too slow.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Look at that. Proper professional bottle of wine. Now, so that's what we said, like least equipment required. I think these are like $3, $4 or something random like that.
Cheaping.
Justin will pick me up on the correct price in the edit. But yeah, so it's super easy, super affordable, still just one vessel, so you don't need any pressure or anything like that.
No pressure.
Quicker if you've got compressed gas to push it out instead of waiting for gravity.
Or the pump, which we'll talk about later on.
Oh, the pump, yeah, exactly. I think that's what we should move on to. Shall we take a look at other methods if we're not going to bottle? So we've got the bladders, which means that rather than having to bottle, I think it's like 28 bottles you're actually getting this kit, right?
Yeah, it should be...
21 litres, roughly?
Yeah, 21 litres-ish.
So my maths will be corrected as well.
Depending on how much you lose, because some, if they're thicker, you'll lose more.
Ah, yeah, because we dumped some. Yep.
Plus we lost a bit in because some of us have been heftily sampling. We've lost a bit more than normal, so I think we're down to about 20 litres on the nose.
Yeah, cool. Now, the other method, Anna, we spoke about having some new gear, and Key did tease this in a previous video, so we're just going to get out the pump, and the BevPump is an awesome way that you can actually ditch the bottles, because if I'm drinking the wine at home, I'm not giving bottles away. Bottles are lovely to give to people, but I just want a full bottle, and I want to be able to take a glass without having to open a full bottle and then think, oh, I've got to drink it all before work on a Monday. So an awesome way is our new BevPump, which we're going to get out now. So this is the new BevPump, and what it's been designed for is essentially transferring things that aren't pressurized. So loads of people want to use our FermZillas and things like that, but they don't have gas to be able to dispense things. So it's not just for dispensing wine and things like that, although it's an awesome way to do it. But yeah, so you've not got to add gas or anything like that. You've not got to wait for gravity. You can literally transfer straight from one line to another line, pressure free. And the pump actually is designed to just put out 10 PSI. So it's an awesome transfer pressure as well. It's not going to be too big. You're not going to have your bladder blowing up or anything like that. So let's give it a go. So we've got our little adapter here for these bladders, which allows you to fill these pretty much oxygen free. So you just make sure that these are flat, you remove your cap and pop this little coupling on here. Pop that all the way in there. Pop off that valve, and that's engaged now. And then obviously we've all seen the carb caps and things like that, so we know what we can do there. We can just put any kind of ball lock female connection on there. So any disconnect. So I'm just gonna pop that on and just hit go. So there's a really handy arrow which points at exactly which direction it's going to go. Don't forget to look at the arrow, which is why we've kind of got it rigged up. But we're literally just going to, and we're filling. And that's going to transfer. So we're going to transfer 5 litres. So this batch will take us, if we did everything in a bladder, it'd just be 4 bladders.
Yeah, that's really easy. So if you're going to buy a VineCo kit, just get 4 of the bladders to go with it. Just because if you're not putting it in the bottles, it saves you so much time. Oxidise if you're not going to finish the whole thing at once. It's really, really handy. Technically, you should probably do it on a set of scales, so you know exactly how much is in there, but we're shooting from the hip of it today. So
we're cowboys. Yep, so we're just going to cut that one there. So this is pretty full now, and it's literally just as easy to take off as it was to put on. So you just pop this one off first. Always do this one first because that's the dry break, so obviously you're going to stop dripping anything anywhere. And then this one just literally, and that disengages the button on the bladder. and you're done. We've actually had a lot of commercial wineries ask us about these bladders. I know they're quite big, but I mean, they sell them into venues and things like that, which is perfect for slower moving venues where they can just pour wine and not have to worry about opening a bottle for just one customer to order one glass. Give this one a try, I reckon.
Yeah, sounds good. Good.
So it's almost 5 o'clock, so we've clearly had a bit of a bigger pour than what we normally do for a 12 shoot. Oh yeah.
It's really nice, yeah, it's really fruity.
It's really good.
Characters, yeah, it's really nice.
It doesn't smell too heavy or anything like that. It's just, you're just getting those fruit flavors, those dark fruits, and...
It's really good.
You happy with it?
Yeah, it's done it really well. I was a bit surprised because I thought for something so short, to make a wine in 4 weeks, it tastes this
Especially a red in 4 weeks, no maturation.
Honestly, it probably could do with a bit more time in oak.
Yep.
Probably, so you'd probably sit on it for a bit longer, but it's still fine drinking now. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of wineries. Obviously, in Victoria and Australia in general, we're really lucky to have so many wineries, but this is killer.
That's really good.
I'd be stoked, mate.
Yeah, it makes that better. Yeah.
So guys, honestly, with these VineCo kits and making wine such high quality within 4 weeks with Adam's new method.
Makes everything easier. All the collection's done in the bottom. There's no more transferring, the bottling, the packaging's easy. Everything's just it's too easy not to do. And the range of VineCo kits, it's just, there's whites, there's reds, there's a mix of fruit wines. It's a really good range.
Everything's simplified, so you'd be stupid not to give it a go. So yeah, check out, don't forget to like this video and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when we release that new video for the BevPump as well about how to get this wine on tap at home. It's super easy. And don't forget, if you've not already, check out our Facebook community channel. So there's always interesting debates going on there about fermenting beers, wines, meads, all sorts of things. So yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. Cheers.